Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today for Kineo's Totara office hours. A little bit about myself. My name is Taylor Craig, and I am the Learning Platform Specialist here at Kineo. So what that means is I work to train clients on Totara. Typically, when you are implementing with Totara, I will work with you all the way throughout the process. And then after you have implemented, if you ever need any additional training, have some questions that you maybe want to go over, things you want to talk about, that's what I'm here for, and we offer office hours for you to do that, as well as additional training if you'd like it. So what exactly are Kineo's office hours? It is a time for you to come and bring me any of your questions. No questions too big, no questions too small. If I don't know the answer, I bet you I know somebody who does. And how it works is we have about a 15-minute feature presentation. We go over something inside of Totara. In this case, today, we're going to talk about notifications. Very quick little overview of something. If you have any suggestions, feel free to send them into our support team or send them to myself. Either one of us will work and it will get to me eventually. And then we open the floor for 45 minutes to our clients only for you guys to ask me any questions that you may have. So bring those in and we will go over those. So today we're going to be talking about notifications, as I mentioned, and in those notifications, a lot of times people aren't aware of all of the different places that notifications are being automatically sent from. Also, a lot of times people aren't aware of where you might go to actually manage how those notifications are handled. If they are sent out to emails, if they're sent out through the messaging system that's built into Totara. A lot of times people just aren't aware of those and don't know where they are and how to manage those. So we're going to take a look at that today. A couple of places that will send site-level notifications, and when I'm referring to site-level notifications, I mean that you have to have done something at the main top level inside of your Totara instance. So for example, a program. If I complete a program, which programs are set up by administrators, if I complete a program, I receive a notification. There's also quite a few other notifications that are sent out with programs. We'll take a look at where those are and how you can actually go in and you can reconfigure those to say whatever you might like them to say. Same thing goes for certifications. Certifications are very similar to programs. If you're familiar with certifications, it's basically a program that repeats itself. So that's what you're going to get into with a certification. We'll take a look at where those notifications are housed as well. Another one that sends notifications is going to be learning plans. But there's kind of a gotcha to learning plan notifications. There's really no good place where you can go and configure those notifications that are being sent out. They are standard, they're built into the learning plan interface, and as far as I can tell, can't be customized anywhere, configured anywhere. Sure, they could be customized, but configured as far as from the administrator's standpoint, not necessarily something that's there. However, it does send out quite a few different notifications. Face-to-face notifications. You can manage these at the site administrative level, and we'll take a look at where you do those. Keep in mind, however, the notifications that you adjust here at the site level for face-to-face, that is going to impact every single face-to-face activity on your site, or at least face-to-face activity going forward. So if you already have face-to-face activities active on your site, it won't impact those, but it should impact the others moving forward. So keep that in mind as well. There are also course level notifications. When you enroll into a course, if you self-enroll into a course, you actually receive a notification for that. A lot of times people don't realize that that is actually a configurable notification. Really easy to adjust and really easy to change, and we'll take a look at where you do that as well. And then you can send even more notifications. You can send those down at the activity level even. So you can adjust face-to-face on a face-to-face by face-to-face instance. You can do it on a per instance basis. Same thing goes for assignments, forums, and feedback. All three of those activities also will send notifications. Some of those you can configure, others you can't. But just want to keep you aware, these are all things that are going to be sending out emails off of your site, which can be a great thing and which can be really helpful. But sometimes you may want to know where exactly those are coming from, and if you want to adjust those. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at where all that's happening and what exactly is going on there. So if we want to take a look at where you actually adjust and manage how those notifications are handled. So we know that there's lots of places where those notifications are coming from, but how are they handled and where do I find that? So that is going to be underneath Site Administration. Then we're going to come down here, we're going to look for plugins. And underneath plugins, I'm going to zoom in just a smidge so you can see this maybe a little bit better. We're going to go to Message Outputs and then Default Message Outputs. Okay? So when you get to this screen, you're going to see there are lots and lots of different notifications. These are all of the ones that are just standard notifications that will be sent out by your site. You'll notice here that we see alert notifications. If you have ever used the alerts block, that's going to be what is controlling that. So you can determine where those alerts appear or don't, if they appear or if they don't. So in this case, we have the task block. We've got it disallowed there. But in the alerts block, we have it permitted. So if we wanted to, we could actually come in here and we could make it permitted, forced, however we might want to do that. And it's going to determine if and when and how it's going to send those notifications, if I'm online or not online. So you have the option there. In this case, we have the alert block permitted. We have it turned on, and we want it sending notifications whether I'm online or not. We want it sending notifications at all times. In your case, you may not want that turned on, so this would be where you would come in to turn that off. So if you want to turn them off completely, you would do that here. Pop-up notifications, we can even allow those if we want to, but we just don't have them checked. We've got them permitted, but we haven't exactly told it when we want to receive those. So I'm going to just check online, okay? And then we have enabled, we've got our email option enabled. So here is the list of all of those notifications. Lots of different ones in here. Feedback reminder, that's going to tie to that feedback activity. Okay? And this up here, again, across the top, task block, alert block, pop-up notification, or email. Those are the different ways that those notifications can be delivered, and these apply all the way down. Okay? So that feedback, if I wanted feedback to appear in the alerts block, I just simply have to make sure I'm in the alert block column and turn that on for that situation. Okay, so that is where you're going to manage those particular notifications, where they're coming through, and how you're pushing those out to your learners, the people on your site. Now let's take a look kind of a step further. Let's take a look inside of programs. Where do we actually go in to adjust and manipulate those particular notifications, and what kind can I send from a program? So if you want to take a look at that, you're going to go under Site Administration, Courses, Manage Programs. You're going to locate your program. I currently right now only have one program on here. So click on that particular program, edit the details. These notifications, instead of being called that, they're going to be called messages. So click on Messages. There are quite a few that are just in here by default that are already set up to be sent. One of those is an enrollment message. So when you are enrolled on that program, that is when you receive this particular one. This may be a familiar one that you have seen, but you may not have known where it was coming from, and you may have wanted to potentially change the language there. This is where you would do that. One thing to keep in mind, guys, anywhere where you see like % symbols on either side of text, you don't want to mess with those. Those are going to be considered placeholders, and that is going to fill in the information from whatever it is. So in this particular case, the name of my program is New Employee Onboarding. So what it's going to do is when this sends it to a learner, it's going to say, you are now enrolled on the program New Employee Onboarding. That's what it's going to tell it. Okay, so keep those types of things in mind. Be aware that that's what that does. We have an exception report message. This particular one is only going to appear to administrators, typically, I believe. So keep that in mind, and this is going to let you know that there's something conflicting that needs to be resolved as an admin. However, there are others down here. So you have enrollment, exception reports, unenrollment, program due, programs overdue, program was completed. So if we want to take a look, let's take a look at the programs completed. We're going to add that one. Okay. So in this case, I can choose what I want to name it, what notice I want to do, and you'll notice here that I can choose to send that notice to the manager. I can choose to also send notice to a manager, and I can choose to do that here as well. I can choose to move this up, down, or delete it. Okay, same goes for these others. So you can put them in whatever order. You do have a send notice to manager checkbox in the majority of these, especially if they're going to be learner facing. Like this one, for example, I don't have a send notice for manager because it's actually an administrator facing notification. Okay. Certifications, those notifications are going to be exactly the same. It's all going to be underneath that messages tab, but let's take a quick little peek here. So those are going to be located under site administration, courses, managed certifications. I have one certification on here. I'm calling it certification program. And again, that is going to be under the messages tab. Okay, scroll all the way down. You're going to notice that under certifications, you do have something called triggers. So it's going to trigger before a particular date. So one day before it is coming due, I need to send a notification that that program is coming due. Okay, so some of these will have trigger notifications in them as well. And here are all the different types of notifications that you can potentially send this way. So pretty nice to be aware of. I don't think a lot of people are aware of those options, but they're out there and they are available to you. So let's take a look now, dive a little bit deeper and see what kind of notifications can be sent to you if you are a learner who is potentially enrolled in a learning plan. So that's going to work a little bit differently. I'm going to pull up another window and log in as a learner here. And then I'll pull it across on the screen so you can see it. So learning plans send notifications, but there's really no good place to edit or adjust those as an administrator. So if I go to my learning, there's been quite a bit going on with my alerts. I've had some courses updated. Can view all of those alerts. And I can choose to match as any selected learning plan and search. So this is going to pull back any of my notifications. It's going to let me know when anything's been updated, if I have sent a learning plan for approval, if I've done any of that. It's going to let me know if due dates have changed. It's going to let me know those types of things. Learning plans do not send notifications to managers, however. Not by default and not in core. So keep that in mind as well when you're talking about those notifications. So let's take a look at face-to-face notifications. If you need to change some of the language around how your face-to-face sends these things out or the wording behind that, you may want to alter these at the system level. That way you don't have to change them every single time you set up a face-to-face activity. So to do that, that's going to be located under Site Administration, Plugins. We are going to go to Activity Modules, Face-to-Face, and we're going to go to the Notification Templates. These are all of the templates that are already in place. You can choose to edit those, or you can choose to add your own. If you need to add any additional placeholders, one great thing about face-to-face is it does have some really good information inside of that, that particular notification area. it will tell you all of the different placeholders. So in this case, the placeholders do look a bit different. They have brackets instead of percent signs on either side, but they work the exact same way. So if you need to provide a notification including the course name, the cost of that session, session dates, any of that information, if you want to make a really detailed notification that goes out to people, you can go through all of these different options, and it's going to pull back those placeholders. Make it unique for every user in that sense. You place your body here, a manager copy if you want to do that, that's going to go in here. And then also you have your status checkbox. It allows the notification template to be marked as active or inactive. Okay, I'm not going to add a new one. I like the ones that I have on my site. But if you want to have one, if you want to make your own and make that available to your instructors or whomever's creating these face-to-face activities on your site, this is where you would manage that and adjust that. So let's take a look a little bit deeper down. We're going to go down into the course level notifications. So I'm going to jump into my favorite course, my Totara Course Basics course. And let's talk about that course enrollment method or message that you can send out. All of these are going to go out automatically based on someone doing something. So if I enroll myself in a course, then I'm going to receive this notification if I have it turned on. A lot of people don't realize it's here because it's not necessarily turned on by default. I clicked in the wrong spot. Let me go back. So underneath administration, this time we're looking at course administration. We're not looking at the site administration. We're going to go click on users, and we're going to click on enrollment methods. There are multiple different enrollment methods that you can employ on your site. In this case, I have manual enrollments. Looks like I had guest access on at one point, and then self-enrollment as well. So underneath self-enrollment, you can come in here and you can edit this. Lots of different settings that you can set around self-enrollment that I'm not sure everyone's aware of. But down here, I have the option to adjust and customize my welcome message as an administrator. So I can come in, I can make these adjustments. Actually, even if you're listed as an instructor in the course or a trainer in the course, you can make these adjustments as well. But you do have to have that role inside of that course before you can make these edits to the course settings. In this case, placeholders again, but they also look different. In this case, it is a different type of bracket, a $sign, an A, all different kinds of coding there. So just keep in mind those placeholders are there, they're available, but they're all going to look different potentially, and in most cases, those will be provided to you. So keep those types of things in mind as well. So one more quick peek here. Let's take a look at how we might, let's get back into the course, how we might alter that face-to-face notification on a face-to-face basis. So if I have multiple face-to-face activities in a course or just one particular course, I want something to differ for those notifications versus all of the other ones on my site, I can do that. I can make those types of adjustments. So I'm going to go in here and take a look at all the different face-to-faces that I have in my course. I'm going to go into the one that I want to alter or adjust. And then at that case, I'm going to look at administration, and you should see face-to-face administration because this is the administration for this particular activity. And I'm going to take a look down here at the very bottom. You should see notifications. And these notifications are just going to apply to only this face-to-face activity. It's not going to apply to any other face-to-face activity on my site or even in this course. So I can also make adjustments, alter. They're all the same, but if I don't want certain ones going out, in this case we wanted to turn off the booking reminders. We didn't want those going out. But you can turn those on. You can adjust the wording, do whatever you might like to do there. Different activities also are going to send out these notifications. They're going to send out different types of notifications. Again, some of these are customizable, some of them are not. I used the word customizable. I meant configure, excuse me. Some of them are configurable, others are not. In this case, if you take a look inside of an assignment settings, it actually has a notifications area where you can choose who is notified about what. Typically, it's going to be notifying people about late submissions or notifying learners about, or notifying graders about submissions in general, and notifying learners when they have been graded. These particular notifications for assignment, forums, and feedback more than likely could be adjusted and altered via the language packs, but they're not just right here as face-to-face was. They're not just part of the settings or part of the administrative settings for that particular activity. Okay, so now I am going to turn the floor back over to you for questions.